Hey everybody, what's going on? Hellmite here, bringing you another video from Grab the Lantern today. It's Runeterra Day, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Reputation mechanic with the Sivir LeBlanc Reputation deck. Now, the whole point of Reputation is that once you have struck for 5 damage 4 or more times in a game, you are considered to have Reputation. At that point, anything that you have in your deck that has a Reputation effect is all online, and so essentially this deck's goal is to punch in for 5 damage as many times as possible, get that Reputation proc going immediately, and then enable the Reputation cards to sort of do their thing and get me significantly more value than they would initially appear to be at first blush. This means I'm going to be playing a lot of cards that are not necessarily aggressively priced for what they do, but if I have that Reputation proc, suddenly they become very strong. So anyways, that's enough kind of talking about the deck in general. Let's go ahead and look at the card by card rundown. First up, at the 1 mana mark, we've got 3 copies of Thrashing Snapper. Now, this is a really good card that was released alongside the most recent card set in the Guardians of the Ancient, I think is the name of the set. The reason I like this guy is that when an enemy blocks him, he gets +3/+0 this round. That means that if I'm able to drop him on turn 1 and swing, I don't even care if my opponent has a blocker, because if they block him, then I am immediately off to the races on my Reputation proc, because he'll strike in for 5 damage, and if they don't block him, then I'm getting in for 2 damage for free. So in general, there's a lot of stuff I think he does really nicely. I don't expect him to ever survive a game, because I'm just going to be turning him sideways every single time I have the option of doing so, but in general, I think that's going to be a really good thing for the deck moving forwards, as would be fitting since he is a rare card. 3 copies of Trifarian Gloryseeker. We've talked about her before. She's got 5 power, most importantly, which means that if I can drop her on turn 2 and then use her in order to remove something in the next turn, she's able to get a ton of value for me in that regard. Again, can't block and only 1 health, but I don't really care. She's supposed to go out, die, and get me another step closer to Reputation. 3 copies of Death Sand. I kind of went back and forth about this versus a couple of other cards. I did consider Death Lotus for the recent Blade and Soldier spam that a lot of decks are playing recently, but I like Death Sand. I kind of like how it works. It allows me to do things like kill the Aurelia on the backline and deal an additional damage to the Nexus. Just straight up dealing damage is very useful in this deck, given that Sivir's transform condition is dealing 35 or more damage, so this is 3 damage across the board, 2 to unit 1 to the Nexus, so there's some flexibility. It's cheap. I kind of like where this is at, so we'll see how this goes. 3 copies of LeBlanc, the first champion of the deck. She's a 5/2 quick attacker that can come down as early as turn 3, which makes her a very scary offensive threat if your opponent doesn't have a response for her. The biggest thing here is that once she flips, she starts giving me these mirror images, which allow me to summon ephemeral copies of allies with 5 or more power, which just really allows you to close out the game. I don't think I've ever gotten to actually use those mirror images, since if LeBlanc flips, the game is probably over as is, but she, generally speaking, is a very powerful card here, and I do like where she's at. 3 copies of Noxian Fervor. This deals 3 to an ally to deal 3 to anything. I really like where this card is at. The deal 3 to anything is super important, as it allows me to go to the dome in order to finish off a low health opponent. This also means that I'm dealing 6 damage across the board, 3 to the ally and then 3 to anything else. And the biggest reason I like this card is because it deals damage. I could be running Culling Strike in the same slot and allow me to sort of remove troublesome threats like Azir, who are super low power but very high health. But I like Fervor because it gives me a lot of damage, and just dealing damage to build up to the Sivir flip condition is really important, so that's why we're going to be playing this as opposed to the Culling Strike. 3 copies of Thorn of the Rose. This is another 5 power card. I think every card in this deck is actually 5 or more power, except 1 or 2, I want to say. But the biggest reason I like her is she creates a Guile in hand. Now, Guile is only 1 mana. I would never main deck Guile. I think it's a really bad card, but the biggest thing this does is because I'm getting it for free, it allows me to play Thorn of the Rose, then use any bank spell mana to stun the most troublesome threat that my opponent has out, then swing in with her. That allows me to sort of clear the field and get in for some damage, or hold on to the Guiles for future use if I need to stop my opponent from swinging back at me, as this deck doesn't play very well when behind. So in general, I like where this card, the kinds of things this card does for me. 3 copies of Baccai Sandspinner. This is a 5/3 that grants an enemy -1/-0 and vulnerable, allowing me to, again, grab some of those backline threats and force them to fight. It's another 5 power card. Of course, it was going to be here in the deck. 3 copies of Bloody Business. Now, the biggest reason I'm running this over Whirling Death, I know I've talked a lot about the 3 versus 4 mana mark in terms of spells and how you have to commit to playing a 4 mana card, but the biggest reason I like this as opposed to Whirling Death is Whirling Death specifies the enemies have to be battling. This means that if there's the unit you want to strike is stunned or something and otherwise can't battle, you can't cast Whirling Death. If the thing you want to kill isn't battling, you can't cast Whirling Death. There's sort of a limitation on what Whirling Death can actually do, whereas Bloody Business allows you to just kind of reach out and actually make things happen. And there are no shortage of targets for this either, because like I said, almost every unit in this deck is 5 or more power, so I'm never really going to be looking at the cards on the field saying, wow, Bloody Business is useless. I'll pretty much always have a target for it unless all of my units are dead, so really going to be excited to see how this one plans out. 3 copies of Callous Bonecrusher. Now, this is a 4-mana 6/4 vanilla, which is not very great on its own, but if I do have that Reputation proc, which is totally possible by the time it hits round 4, then she only costs 2. Being able to play out multiples of these on the same turn is a really big swing, especially having 4 health means that she can actually survive quite a few combats, and especially in the land of blades, that's a big deal. So if I have to hardcast her, I don't feel too bad about it, but definitely playing her for 2 is a huge swing. 3 copies of Sivir, and Sivir is really the main win condition of this deck. She's very hard to deal with as a 5/3 with quick attack and spell shield. On offense, there's virtually nothing your opponent will ever be able to do to stop a Sivir from actually getting in for damage, unless they physically have something too large for her to survive punching and then gets punched back. The biggest thing here is while she's attacking after flipping, attacking allies have her keywords. Now, I'm not really playing into the Lucky Finds and sort of Build-A-Bear Sivir where you give her a bunch of keywords and then transfer them all to all of your allies, but I almost don't need it. Like, just all the allies gaining quick attack and spell shield is good enough. Like, that alone will allow you to just kind of close out games, and the fact that she can do it in the middle of combat and then grant all the allies the keyword is also a huge deal. So really like how Sivir plays in the deck, and definitely want to be seeing her, maybe not necessarily at the 4 mana mark dropping her on curve, but want to be seeing her at some point in the game after I've dealt enough damage to get that flip. 3 copies of Whispered Words. This is a crazy good card if you have the Reputation proc. A 4-mana draw 2 isn't that good on its own. I'm not going to say that's like an incredibly powerful effect or anything, but the biggest thing here is once you have Reputation, this is only costing 2. 2-mana draw 2 is absolutely nuts, and I can't wait to see how well that's going to be able to restock the hand, especially once I played it out aggressively, struck in for a bunch of damage, gotten the Reputation procs, and then just be able to draw 2 to refill the hand off the Whispered Words. Super good card, and really excited to see this, especially if I can get it in an opening hand or something. 3 copies of Ruin Runner. This is another really powerful finishing card. The Overwhelm and Spell Shield combination makes her fairly difficult to deal with, as your opponent can't just target her with a spell to get rid of her. They kind of have to hit her with a spell and then hit her with another spell, at which point she's trading up because they use 2 cards to get rid of one of mine. At 6/4, she's able to enable Reputation. She's also decently durable, so she can survive some combats. So in general, Ruin Runner is kind of a difficult card for opponents to deal with. I wasn't too impressed when I first saw this card, but it's sort of grown on me over the last couple of games I've played. So we'll see how this does. 2 copies of Ricochet. Honestly, I'm not sure I know if I like this card very much. I think I'm running it because it's going to deal 5 damage, so that enables Sivir. If I have the Reputation proc, then it's only costing 3, which feels a lot better. It can go to the Nexus. There are a couple of things this does. It'll probably get cut at some point, honestly, but we'll play it this one time, and we'll kind of see how it does for me. 1 copy of Boomerang Blade. Now, unlike Ricochet, Boomerang Blade I know is very good, as this allows you, an ally, to strike the strongest and weakest enemies. This counts twice towards Reputation, so you're able to very quickly turn Reputation online if you're able to play this as early as turn 4, right? Play the LeBlanc, bank spell mana, and then on turn 4, play the Boomerang Blade. LeBlanc punches 2 things, you're off to the races. The biggest thing here, and interesting to note, is that the strongest and weakest enemy can be the same enemy if your opponent only has 1 thing, which means that if it has 10 health and you have something with 5 or more power being the target for Boomerang Blade, you can just straight up kill it. So that's kind of a funny interaction, and I do quite like where this card is at. Only at 1 copy because I didn't have the wild cards for it, but either way, I do appreciate how this card does. Finally, a single copy of Incisive Tactician. This is one of the other support cards that was recently added in Guardians of the Ancient. Now, he, interestingly enough, is not 5 power, so he kind of is at odds with the deck he wants to be played in, but he has a reputation of costing 6, which is pretty nice, and when he's summoned, I rally. That's not a reputation effect, that's just when I play him. So he's sort of like a Noxian version of Tiana Crown Guard, which is kind of fun. But the biggest thing here is that being able to rally means that my opponent may assume, if I open attack and my opponent tries to barely survive, they assume they have the ability to rebuild now that my attack token is done. Incisive Tactician comes down, and the game just kind of ends right after that point. The fact that you can swing in, get the Reputation proc, and then play him for 6 is even better. So we'll kind of see how he does. I haven't actually managed to resolve this card before, so we'll kind of have to see how he does, but I'm excited to hope that he works out in the way I hope he does. And that's the deck, guys. It's pretty simple. It's turning things sideways. It's dealing 5 damage to a lot of things. You're going to hear me say the word 5 damage probably way more in this game than you will ever hear me say it in other places. So either way, let's go ahead and hop into the queue. Let's start finding some games. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, dealing with Old Man Sans and his Elise TF Go Hard would be my assumption. Now, this deck is essentially just a defensive deck, uses Elise to play out a bunch of early Spiderlings to just stay alive, and then it transitions into TF drawing you a ton of cards, using Go Hard and Pack Your Bags, just kind of clear the field and win the game off of that. It's a very controlling deck. Assuming, of course, this is what he's playing, but I can't think of any other reason why someone would have Elise and TF in the same deck. He's just going to come out with the Jagged Butcher with no Plunder proc, but I don't have an answer, so I'm just going to take 2 off of that. That feels pretty bad, but yeah, getting in for 2 damage right off the bat, so feels a little bad, but hey, we're going to be able to come down with the Gloryseeker, get in for some damage. Ideally, he doesn't have the Vile Feast, but of course he does. Oh, it's the Go Hard, that's right. Yeah, why would it be anything else? So yeah, so he's going to go hard here, he's going to get the damage in, and it's going to shuffle more Go Hards into the deck, and he's going to have the ability to then ideally play out more Go Hards and eventually pack my bags for me, so. Now, I don't want to play the LeBlanc here because there's not much of a reason to do so. I don't want to block with her at all, so instead I think we're just going to play the Thorn of the Rose. We do have the Guile on deck now. She is a target for Go Hard, but is this really the second Go Hard? It actually is. So he only needs 1 more copy. I'm taking a ton of damage here. So yeah, so unfortunately, I did not expect TF Go Hard. Really, that deck archetype really fell off over the last couple of months. People haven't been playing it very much, but I guess this guy's still making it work for him, and so far my deck's just fallen into every single trap he's set. So we'll come down to the Blanc at least. See if he's got a response for her. Which he's got the Zap Sprayfin, so he'll go get a Go Hard. We're just going to go ahead and swing in with a LeBlanc, try and get some damage down. He's going to declare a block, but I think this is just to try and not die. And what does he have? He's going to Glimpse Beyond. So actually what I'll do, I don't have the mana for Death's Hand. So this is actually a good play. It restocks his hand and prevents LeBlanc from actually striking, so that makes no progress towards Reputation. So now, he's out of mana, though, so he won't be able to do anything else, but unfortunately, that was my attack token, so now it's back to him, and I have to keep trying to survive what's coming my way. I do have the mana here for Death's Hands, which I think I will use to just kind of clear the field here. I do want to get the Zap Sprayfin. I don't care too much about Fortune Croaker. That's not that big of a deal. So either way, we'll get that damage down. And I think, realistically, I kind of want to bank the spell mana. I don't feel like there's a big reason to try and develop. He's got a second Zap Sprayfin, so he's going to go get the Go Hard. I will just go ahead and Death's Hand the Zap just to get it off the field. It'll make a little bit of progress towards the LeBlanc quest, too. She's at 6 now, I believe. Yeah, we are working on Sivir. I have not been able to do very much damage. This has been a pretty rough opening game here. And let's go ahead and bring out Ruin Runner. This potentially gets me 2 towards Reputation, and it does put him on a bit of a timer because he's going to take a bunch of damage. This is 11 if he doesn't block, and it's going to be probably still a similar amount of damage even if he does. If both of these units strike, this also gets me closer to, or I believe this gets me the LeBlanc flip if I'm doing my math right. So he's got the deck hand, so he thinks he has an answer at least. I will go ahead and punch over the barrel. Yeah, so he probably has something that will get rid of the barrel. He has the Withering Wail, so unfortunately this does kill the LeBlanc, but it doesn't do anything to Rune Runner because of Spell Shield, like I said, and we at least get in for 6 damage here. I think that's only the first step towards Reputation. Yeah, I've only struck for 5 or more once. He's been very good at keeping me at bay here. But at least we did blow up that cask because you know he's got the Go Hards in hand, and he's just waiting for the right opportunity to pack my bags, so the third Zap Sprayfin is going to go ahead and come down here. And I think what I want to do is actually play out another Ruin Runner because she's got Spell Shield. So I'm not that worried about the Go Hard. Now, we could Go Harder and then pack my bags, which, yeah, that is looking like that's what's going to happen. I'm going to try and limit the damage I take on the backside by using this Bloody Business here. He could obviously stop me with a Glimpse Beyond, but that's okay. So that's going to make me some progress towards the Reputation. The Spell Shield is gone, so I'm getting my bags packed here. I can almost guarantee it. I think he's thinking if he wants to do it. Okay, Burblefish. That's a good one for him to have. Nothing I can do about it either, as I don't have a second Burblefish. Okay, so he's getting in for a decent chunk of damage here. Yeah, this will be 4. And he has the option of obviously packing my bags, which will deal 5. So essentially, I have to play like I'm on 3 life. Now, we can come out with another Ruin Runner on the next turn. He will be able to kill 2 of them if he tries to pack my bags, but at least I will have 1 survive. And hopefully this baits him into playing it now, because I can come out with the Snapper afterwards. He's thinking about it. There it is. So I will get the Pack Your Bags. We're going to lose 2 of the Rune Runners. The third one will survive, though, so we do have the option of getting in for some damage afterwards. I'm not sure I actually survive this, though. If he's got another Go Hard, actually, he just kills the Thrashing Snapper, and I mean, I think I'm dead on board as is. Yeah, he's got another Go Hard, so just absolutely nothing I can do. You know, it's funny because this deck, a lot of people sort of gravitated away from, like, Vile Feast, and like I said, the Go Hard deck I haven't seen in ages, so I was sort of like, man, people still play this? But, like, this deck loses to Go Hard super hard, even on paper. If you told me, you know, Reputation versus Go Hard, who wins, I would take Go Hard every single time because of how good that card is at just sort of shutting out what this deck wants to do. So we're not even going to get our Reputation online. We're 1 off, and he's got me dead on board, so I don't think... I'm going to wait and see if he goes straight to combat, which he should, because he knows he's got me if he goes straight to combat, but we'll wait and see if he does it. Yeah, he's just going to go there, so I'm dead. I can't block the elusive, so that's going to be a loss on game 1 here. Feels pretty bad, but when someone brings out Go Hard and you haven't seen it in months, you're not expecting Go Hard, turns out. So either way, we're going to hop back in the queue. We'll see if the next game can't be a little bit more lucky. And here we go once again, guys, gals, and other pals versus Wonderbolt playing his Elise. It's gonna be a Spiders deck, which I actually almost played for this week's episode. I do quite enjoy playing Spiders on occasion. It's very similar to the Noxian aggro deck I played before, where it's just a lot of playing cheap units and going to the dome with them. But this hand is really bad for dealing with Spiders. We do have a Snapper, at least, who actually will not be able to block the Precious Pet, but 100% Precious Pet is what comes down on turn 1. I am gonna have to take this damage. He's going to be on 2 mana, unfortunately, which means he can Vile Feast my Snapper. So let's give him something else to think about, and we're going to bring out the Gloryseeker. He doesn't have anything, so I actually just want to kind of swing here. I don't care. Okay, he's going to Vile Feast here, which is fine, honestly. There's nothing I could have done about it, and at the very least, I'm keeping a unit on the table, so I'm not making any progress towards Reputation as he chose not to block here, but getting in for some free damage is honestly totally fine by me. We do have Thorn of the Rose, so we can come down with this. And almost as bad as this sounds, he's got the 3rd Precious Pet. Yeah, as bad as this sounds, I think I will have to block one of them. I'm not going to block with the Thrashing Snapper. I think it's going to be a better offensive threat, but yeah, we're taking a ton of damage. He actually opened all 3 Precious Pets. That's pretty good. Now, I do think I want to hold off on playing much of any... he can't attack me on this turn. Even if he gets the Elise flip, I can kill her on the next turn. So we'll come down with the 2nd. He does actually have the Elise. That's pretty sad for me, as she's guaranteed to flip and there's no longer anything I can do about it. But I can kill her on the next turn. So blocking out here, this is the Crawling Sensation. As one of the reasons Spiders is really good is its ability to just replenish itself and keep the board flooded is really powerful. So Elise guaranteed flips here. He's got 4 Spiders on the battlefield. And I do have the Noxian Fervor, which I think I'm gonna have to use. He's got the Spinner. Oh no, okay. That can't be allowed to attack. We're gonna Guile it. Because if that attacks, I just lose, because the buff it gives is permanent. Spiders actually got really spicily good with the inclusion of Spinner. So what I have to do here, we're going to... actually, we don't want a Death's Hand. We want a Noxian Fervor, the Elise, and everything is fearsome, so I actually can't block anything else. So we're going to take 6, but at least Elise is dead, and that's going to remove all of the fearsomes. Unless... Okay, he's going to Glimpse Beyond Elise. That's fine, because I think this stops my Noxian Fervor from going off in general. If I still lose my guy, I'm going to be kind of sad, but I won't be surprised. Yeah, so I do lose my guy. But that is how I believe that's supposed to work. So, like I said, I'm not fundamentally, like, shocked that that's how that plays out. I do have the Sivir in hand, but I absolutely have to remove the Shrieking Spinner. It's way too strong with the board he's got. Sadly, he has the the Arachnoid Sentry, so we're going to go for the Bloody Business and just punch it to death if I can't kill it in combat. What else has he got? His 3rd Glimpse Beyond. No, not his 3rd one. This is his 2nd Glimpse Beyond. So he's going to convert it into cards, but at least it's gone. That's the biggest thing. That being said, I may be dead. He's got a second Elise. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm dead here. There's some things I can do. I do have a decent chunk of cards that I can kill things out with. So we're going to Death Sand this. And then we're going to shoot the Elise to death. This spider is still going to count as being blocked, and I'm going to take 5. Assuming nothing changes. He's going to let it resolve. So we're going to remove some of it, and we're alive on 2. Not a great situation to be in. He's got hand advantage as well. He's going to flood out the board with even more spiders, and I don't have much of a way of dealing with this unless Ricochet. If I top decked the Ricochet, I would have had a shot, but I don't think I have a way out of this now. He's got a Frenzied Skitterer. I can't bloody business now because she's actually too weak. So we'll swing in. This isn't going to make any progress towards Reputation. Honestly, Reputation, okay. I'm gonna be real. This is like a little bit of like, yeah, okay, obviously I'm losing all these games, so of course I'm gonna say negative things, but I actually do feel like Reputation is not a very good mechanic. I like it, I want it to work, but it's not very good because it's so easy to play around, and all the units you want to play to make it work just die to a Stiff Spring Breeze, so your opponent has so many ways of stopping you from striking in for 5 damage. Of course, we got 2 decks that play super well into it. Spiders doesn't care about how much damage your guys do. They're only playing 1/1s anyways, and then obviously TF Gohard was gonna be difficult to deal with in general because of how powerful Gohard is, but man, this sucks. All right, we're gonna be hopping into another game here. Can I get a win? That's gonna be the key here. Can this deck get a win? Welcome back once again, guys, gals, and other pals. We're here against Silcypher, who's playing the Yasuo Leona stun deck. The whole point of that deck is to stun a bunch of targets using Leona especially, and then allow Yasuo to just kind of clear up from there. I do think we will keep... this is sort of an interesting mulligan here, but I think we want to keep the Whispered Words. I'm alright with that. We'll mulligan away the other 2 in the hopes of a better early game, and it's not coming up, unfortunately. No Thrashing Snappers, and we're going to have all 3 copies of Thorns of the Rose. So I guess that's not the worst thing in the world. He's going to come down with Blue Sentinel, which I don't have a unit, so that's going to get in for free. And he will 100% block with this because he just wants it for the ramp. Interesting that that deck's playing Blue Sentinel. I wouldn't think that would be like an ideal card to have down, but... hey, goes to show what I know. Okay, here's the Sunhawk, so he's going to be able to stop me from doing anything offensively, but that's okay because Reputation still works on the defensive, so... Baccai Sandspinner. Yeah, he's taking that back because he's realizing, oh, I actually want to get a stun off. Here's Leona, so she will be able to stun the... and this is basically how this deck is going to work, is he's going to be able to get a ton of stuns off with Leona every time he gets Daybreak going. I will then play out the second Thorns of the Rose. So I still have something that's big enough. He knows it, so he's not going to attack with the Leona. And I'm going to block because I don't care. That gets me closer Reputation. We even have the mana for the Thrashing Snapper on the backswing. And what I'm going to do here is Baccai Sandspinner and try to chase down and murder the Leona. Or, alternatively, I do have this Gloryseeker. So I'm going to play this a little slow. So Thorn of the Rose, we'll see what he wants to do. He's going to come down with Ravun, which makes it always day, which is pretty good, but here's Gloryseeker, and he's on 2 mana. So I actually have to kill Ravun. I can't afford to not kill Ravun here. See what he has, though. He does have the Steel Tempest. Okay, so that's a little disappointing, but again, there's nothing I could have done about it. So this will not activate my Reputation yet, unfortunately, because he chose not to block the Thrashing Snapper. We got in for some damage, though, so I'm not feeling too bad about that. We do have Bloody Business as well. See what he's looking at. The Leona's almost flipped. This should be a Daybreak card, yeah. So he's going to go for the Zenith Blade, which I'm going to answer right now. He's on to 9 mana, but I have to take this opportunity. We're actually going to get it. So Ravun is gone. Leona is still going to flip here, but at the very least, the Zenith Blade is going to have no target, so that's going to fizzle. It shouldn't replace itself, I don't think. It actually will. Okay, interesting. Yeah, so he's going to get that second Zenith Blade. I now have Reputation going. Actually, you know, we don't need to do that. Let's go ahead and just bring out the Rune Runner. Spell Shield's going to make it pretty difficult for him to deal with as well. He has a Blade Twirler, which is not going to do anything, and he knows it, so he's just going to pass back. That makes a lot of sense. I have LeBlanc, and I have the mana as well, so we're going to make Leona vulnerable, because that will allow me to chase her down with the Rune Runner and kill her. And the fact that Rune Runner has Spell Shield as well is going to make it pretty difficult. Hilariously, I know this deck does main deck... oh no, it can't main deck Threatening Roar because he's not in Noxus. So then what is this? He's on 9 mana. Sunburst. Okay. So he's just going to absolutely annihilate my Sandspinner, which is fine. I can't play unit while spells are being cast. No spells are being cast. Oh, Leona's ability. Right, so it doesn't matter, though, because that's just going to break Spell Shield. Saw that a mile away, and here comes LeBlanc. So, yeah, so we go in. We're going to grab her. We're swing with LeBlanc last because she has the opportunity to flip before or after all the combats have gone through. He has to block. He may have a stun card, which would be useful, but he absolutely has to block here, because this is lethal. This is not lethal, actually, if he has a stun card. Yeah, because I'm not going to get any trample damage through. Again, he's not blocking the Snapper, but that just makes sense. Yeah, so there's the Steel Tempest. So he will keep the Leona alive, those Steel Tempests coming through clutch. So that actually means my LeBlanc won't flip until after her attack, which is fine. So I still get this. And ideally, this will let me... This does give me a unit as well that I can use to block and kill the Leona. Actually, top decking into another LeBlanc. Sigil of Malice. There's Ravun. Let's go ahead and Whispered Words for 2, which feels pretty good. We're going to get another LeBlanc. And Bloody Business... Actually, he's on 3 mana. That's fine. Bloody Business, the Leona. And there she goes. So Ravun is still here, but that's fine because we have sufficient blocks to deal with him. I've got 4 damage. Yeah, he knows he's dead. I think Sigil of Malice, I'm not sure if that can go to the dome or not, but either way, he knew he didn't have enough at that point, and we were just going to be able to crush him in combat on the next round. So, hey, we played against a deck that doesn't come out super hard and annihilate you, and Reputation kind of worked. So, either way, really nice to see that happen. We're going to do one more, see if we can't at least go even on today's episode, and hopefully this keeps working out. Alrighty, guys, gals, and other pals here against Sid Buzak playing a Zilean control deck here with Shadow Isles thrown in for good measure. And this is going to be the last game I think we play here. So let's hopefully make it so a 2-0. Or a 2-2. I don't have good odds against this deck, I really don't think. The Zilean deck can be very good at controlling things, but we have the Snapper at least. Turn 1. I don't think there's anything for 1 mana that removes this. So he's got Dunekeeper. I do think I still want to swing into this because it's just going to make progress. I know he can block it with his free Sand Soldier, but I don't care. Off to the races. Reputation is getting online, and the faster that gets online, the better this deck is going to do. The Sandspinner top deck, not ideal, and he's got a Fading Icon. Interesting. So we'll come out with the Gloryseeker who can't block, so I'm going to get punched for 5 right back. But that's okay. I don't really intend to play very defensively. I intend to be mostly offensive here, so into the Bloody Business, which does me no good. We're just going to go ahead and punch this guy to death here with my Gloryseeker, assuming, of course, he doesn't have any removal, which looks like he does and is willing to play. It's the Vile Feast, and Vile Feast, man, that card is such a blowout against this deck. So many 1 health cards for that to kill. So that's pretty bad. Not gonna lie. Into... I'm like, he's on 1 mana. What else could that be? Crawling Sensation? Why would he be playing Crawling Sensation? I mean, if he is, it's a great play for him. He's going to get a couple more 1/1s. He'll be able to sort of out-aggro me. But, He's thinking about it, though. I don't think he knows if he wants to play it or not. Okay, Rite of Calling. So he's going to go get a champion. It's guaranteed to be a Zilean. That's fine. Probably. Probably fine. We have Fervor. And I can come down with the Sivir, but I'm not going to do it on the defensive. Okay, he's going to go to combat first, so I'm taking 6 off of this. Life's looking a little low. And I do want to hold off on the Sandspinner until after the... So actually, the Sivir's probably fine to play here. Worst case scenario, I Noxian Fervor her to death. But if she was going to die to something, that's alright. He does have the Zilean, so he's going to go shuffle all those time bombs into the deck. And then predict one. Time Bomb's not going to be too bad against... Or it's not going to be too good right off the bat because Sivir does have Spell Shield. Okay. So we'll Sandspinner the Zilean. And then he's got 8 mana, though, so he has plenty of things online. Merciless Hunter to give Sivir vulnerable. I do like that as a play. Okay, and we're going to hold on to this Bloody Business in order to try and remove the Merciless Hunter afterwards. Okay, so we are going to get the Zilean. That's really big. We made 2 steps towards getting our reputation online. Here comes Chronomancer, letting him predict. I'm guessing he doesn't want time bombs here. And I think he's on 3 mana, which is not enough for any of his counter spells. So we will punch this to death now. I don't think that's too big of a deal. He does still have the Fading Icon that can challenge and kill the Sivir, but that's what the Noxian Fervor is going to be for. That actually gives us reputation, though. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, we are reputable as of now. Is it even worth it? I think it's fine to just let this resolve. Yeah, so that's going to get the Sivir close. We're down to 2, which feels bad. But hey, we're playing a 2-mana Bonecrusher. That feels pretty good. This is down to 3 mana. That's actually a card I'd play now. Spirit Leech to kill his guy. Go draw 2. I can technically just get in for 4 damage. Tempting, but I kind of want to save the spell mana, see if he plays out anything else. Time Bomb. Okay. So, because I'm going to do this because the Time Bomb is just going to straight up kill the Baccai Sandspinner, so whatever, we'll get some damage in. It gets me my Sivir flip. And there's no reason to play him because Time Bomb kills him. So there we go, the damage goes through, we're into a Gloryseeker. How slow do I want to play this? We can play all of our units out, but that leaves us without Ricochet mana, which is probably fine. Play out the Snapper. And what we'll do is we'll play the Baccai Sandspinner, give something vulnerable, and then have the Snapper challenge it. Not yet. Well, Gloryseeker. He's still sitting on a ton of mana, though. Okay, there's the Time Bomb. It's going to draw him into another card. Okay, and he's into the Fading Icon. So, the combat here is going to be very important. I think what I want to do here is swing like so, because these two are just going to die no matter what happens because of the Time Bomb on the backswing. One of these two can get killed, obviously, by the Fading Icon, which is fine, though. The biggest issue here is he's got a pretty big hand advantage. So he has the ability to replace his stuff more than I do. A top deck Whispered Words would be absolutely huge right now, but I mean, at this point, I'm in top deck mode. I'm praying. Okay, Glimpse Beyond is fine, so he's going to build that hand advantage even higher. My Snapper was already going to die, so now it's just going to die without having struck, which is pretty sad for it, but hey, we're in for some damage. I do have blocks at least. He's down to 2 mana here. Time Bomb will go off. He actually has a 1 mana Ancient Preparations. That's pretty good. So he gets his Predict. Probably go find another Time Bomb. And so this goes off. Snapper dies. And come on. Sivir, that's fine. Honestly, I'm alright with the Sivir here. I don't think it's, like, tremendous or, like, very good in that regard, but, like, it does help. Spirit Leech is going to top deck him into even more cards. I will Ricochet out here because I don't want to have to lose the Baccai Sandspinner. It's one of my only units here, so we'll do this. See if he wants to counter it, which... Okay, he's going to Glimpse Beyond. Fine. Okay, he's had a Glimpse Beyond. I think every deck I've played against today has had the Glimpse Beyond in it, which is kind of funny. It lets you know how good that card is. But so all 5 of this damage should go, yeah, all 5 of it's going to go to the Nexus. So that's actually pretty good. For 3 mana, 5 damage to Nexus, I'll take it. He's got 3 mana left, so what does he want to do? Go hard! He's running Go Hard. I can't say I expected that. We'll come to the Sivir. She's going to flip. Not sure how I feel about that flip animation in comparison to some of the other ones, but still good. And having the Sivir here is pretty nice. Now, the question is, can he kill the Sandspinner? If he has another Go Hard, he can. Of course he has another Go Hard, but he can't pack Sivir's bags. The healing is the biggest thing here, though. Getting that little bit extra might prevent me from being able to go to the dome. Right, he gets his Clockling here, too, which is pretty sad. Okay, we will Bonecrusher out, because he needs one more Go Hard before he can pack my bags. So, no matter what, I'm guaranteed this attack, unless he's got something else he wants to play. He is a Noxus. He has the Sandspinner, which is fine, because we still have enough damage to kill it with Quick Attack, and it's also going to be granted to my Callous Bonecrusher as well, who now, if he tries to pack my bags, he can't kill both units because they both got Spell Shield. So he's thinking about it here. He's trying to keep the Sandspinner because he wants to be able to remove the Sivir, I would guess. Okay, you have to block, though. Unless he's got something else. Okay, he is going to block Sivir here. He's going to take 6. So, actually, hilariously, another Ricochet would be huge. Because it would... Actually, it's not guaranteed to kill him. It wouldn't guaranteed kill him, but it would be really funny. Okay, he's going to do this to pop Spell Shield, because that'll just get rid of it, and then whatever he has removal-wise, we'll be able to break it from there. No, actually, that didn't break Spell Shield. I'm not sure why that didn't work. Okay, so there's the Go Hard. And here comes the Pack Your Bags, which, oh, this actually kills me. I did not consider that, but I lose to Pack Your Bags. So does he have it? Do I get killed by the stupid KDA card? Okay, Black Spear. That's fine, as long as I'm not losing to a KDA card. Okay, so Sivir goes down. Whispered Words, come on. Come on, top deck Whispered Words. Oh, Fervor! Fervor! That works! That works! Actually, wait, we can win off of this. Okay, the question is, I have to wait for him to have no mana, is the problem, because I know he's running counter spells. Okay, he's got a Time Bomb. He has 2 cards in hand. I forgot Time Bomb replaces itself. Okay, Chronomancer, he's gonna go predict something. Play out the hand, just keep playing out the hand. Keep playing out the hand, bud, you have no idea. I hit nothing. Play that last card. It's got to be a counterspell, right? He's still got the mana to play it too, which is the tragic part. No? He's gonna play it. He's gonna play it. He has no cards in hand. He's dead. Because it doesn't replace itself either. So, we got it. We got it. He has nothing. He can't do anything. Straight to the dome. Let's go. Okay. That game, I really did not think we were going to win. Once he revealed he's main decking the Go Hards, I was like, oh no, this is exactly like game 1. We're going to get blown up by Pack Your Bags, just lose to that. But we managed, we top decked the right thing. It wasn't Whispered Words, but it was what we needed at the time. So I will take it. And that's going to be it, guys. Like I said, I at least we were able to end the day 50-50, which I will take every time. Those first couple of games were really rough, but at least we were able to bring it back. And now I think I probably will bring out that Spiders deck for next week, because it's super fun to play. And that game I played sort of reminded me, like, oh yeah, Spiders is really good and also really fun. So Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Go ahead and leave it a like, especially if you enjoyed that last game clutch. That was pretty fun. So again, let me know if you enjoyed the video by leaving that like, and maybe leave a comment down below as well, letting me know what you thought of the deck, or if there are any ways to improve it. I feel like this deck can be better than it is, and maybe I'm just playing the wrong thing. So if you guys have some thoughts, you know, let me know all that down in the comment section below. I would love to hear about it. And hey, if you really enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. It lets me know that you guys are enjoying the content, and especially if you want to see more content from me, that's the best way to get notified when the videos go live. Once again, thank you guys so very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I'll talk to you all later.